And we're back. The hackers couldn't keep us down. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stick around. Hey everyone, David C. Henderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and we are back with our favorite time of the week. Coolest new knives of the week have just hit our shelves, and they're right here in front of me. Something like that anyway. Let's get into it.
We had an interesting day this week.
Yes, indeed, we did. For anyone following around Tuesday morning here, our channel got hacked by some crypto scammers who were trying to take you to phishing sites and started streaming AI-generated videos, and YouTube took our channel down. We were terminated, and we were very fearful that we would not be able to get the channel back up. Thankfully, however, the appeals process worked, and YouTube reinstated the channel, so all should be back to normal. Don't know how they got it.
As normal as we get.
As normal as we back to our normal. For anyone who saw those live streams going out, we do apologize. We still don't know how they managed to bypass our security, but hey, thankfully all is right with the world, or as right as it is with the world these days, anyway. Shall we talk about knives?
We are a knife channel, not a crypto channel.
This is true. Let's start with the new Kershaw and ZT releases that were dropped earlier this week. I think the one everyone's talking about is the 203 from Zero Tolerance. Here it is. It's the start of a kind of new chapter for the Zero Tolerance brand. It is their first crossbar locking knife, and it is pretty darn cool. And ZT didn't just do another crossbar locking knife. They went big and bold, which is, those are hallmarks of the ZT heritage for sure. 4-inch blade, drop point, but definitely a stylish drop point, and we've got CPM M4 steel here with a PVD coating. M4, of course, is a very tough powder metallurgy steel, non-stainless, but it holds an edge really, really well. Also, a very nice choice for a knife that is going to be a hard use capable folder. The handle backs up that hard use ability as well. We've got full thick liners here, skeletonized a little bit for weight, but you've got plenty of strength underpinning these G10 grips, and of course, the crossbar lock. Kershaw calls it a Duralock, but we call them crossbar locks here, with some really nice end caps on it, making it very easy to actuate. And in another nod to, big, tough, hard-working attitude, we've got washers in the pivot of this knife. No ball bearings here, and it's a lot of mass to move around, as you can see. No ball bearings, which could give you a more frictionless open, but we always feel like washers tend to feel a little more stable as opposed to like glass smoothness. It's got like a buttery smoothness, if that makes sense. And of course, it's going to withstand, grime, dirt, dust, hard use environments a little more readily than than a bearing-based system would give you too. But it's fully ambidextrous. You've got a deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible, using that traditional 3-hole pattern there. So there's a lot of aftermarket clips that will work with this if you prefer something a little bit different to this one. But it feels really good. I mean, it's not a lightweight knife, but it doesn't feel bulky. I mean, 6.6 ounces. It's not kludgy. It's got balance. It's got the willingness to move and the readiness to cut, which is really nice and kind of belies the large size here. But I could see this competing very favorably with stuff like the Benchmade Adamas or the SOG Seal XR. Is it the XR? The flipper version. Those big 4-inch crossbar locking knives. This is right up there with that type of thing. Big 4-inch, tough crossbar locking folder built for tactical and hard use needs that is really nice. It's maybe a little slicier than the Adamas, but not quite as hand-filling. But I don't have one here to compare. Feels good though. Now for the Kershaw, we've got another M4 blade from the Launch series. This is the Launch 21, which is the same handle as the Launch 16, just a different blade shape. I kind of wish they just called it the Launch 16 with a new blade shape, but the Launch series, it's too many numbers now. It's hard to remember what's what. But you've got a clip point blade on this very nice handle. One of my favorite of the Launch handles. I still go back to the Launch 1. I think that's my favorite model overall. But even I have to admit, like, this handle's a little more useful than the Launch one. And it should work for a lot of different hand sizes too. There's plenty of length. The finger guard is not cramped for bigger fingers, yet it's gentle enough that if you have smaller fingers, it's still gonna be useful if you're, you know, getting multiple digits up in there. 155 bucks for this. Oh, I didn't mention the price on the ZT, did I? About $296 for that knife. 155 for this knife. Blade length is just under 3.5. Drop point clip point as mentioned, high flat grind, M4 for that great tough characteristics. Both of the blade stocks on these are slightly on the thicker side for folding knives, but that gives you even more durability. But higher flat grinds on both also mean they're going to slice pretty decently too. Handles are aluminum. You've got flat dark earth here with black G10 inlays, front and back, giving you a little bit of traction. That's different than the rubberized grips that we see on most of the Launch 16s. And you've got that push button automatic action, which Kershaw does very well, especially when you factor in the price point. This is a US made automatic with M4 steel for 155 bucks. That's a pretty good deal. You've got a deep carry pocket clip. It is reversible. That rounds things out. And you know, being a button fired automatic, lefties should have no problem using that too. So it's good to have the reversibility built in. Next up, we have a new chapter in the Bel Air saga, I guess you could say. The Bel Air has been extremely popular since it was first introduced because you've got a great everyday capable design that's slim and easy to carry, US made with MagnaCut steel for about 150 bucks. This is a new blade shape and handle material. So instead of just the modified Wharncliffe, we now have this kind of throwback clip point shape going on. I say throwback because it really reminds me of kind of like old school slip joints in a way, you know, modernized a little bit, widened a little bit, but it's got like that old school long clip point thing going on down in a 3.1 inch blade size. The blade steel is still MagnaCut. We've got a working finish on this blade, which is kind of a heavier stone washed finish. They actually stone wash and bead blast, or bead blast then stone wash the finish. So you get like a darker look as opposed to, let's see, we've got a more shiny or traditional or simply stone washed finish here on this knife. We'll get to that later. But they've given it, or they've kind of gone with like the working class vibes with this variation. Kind of fits in with the previous two knives too. First appearance of micarta on the Bel Air, so you got a little more rugged, a little more down and dirty type of personality to it. The blade shape helps, or the blade finish helps with that too. Still nice and thin, still very great at slicing. Because of the full straight clip on the spine here, you've still got a very acute tip, just like the previous versions, but a little more belly there at the tip for rotational slicing. We'll go with that. Deep carry pocket clip sticking out back of the handle, so you've got very deep carry going on. Ambidextrous all around with the crossbar lock. Ball bearings in this one, not washers, like on the ZT from before, but reversibility all around. It's really nice. Working finish on that clip as well. Dig it. New clip point Bel Air. There you go. This next knife kind of has the same, or hits some of the same bullet points as the Bel Air. US made, great size and shape for EDC, MagnaCut steel at a pretty good price. And that's the Gerber Fastball, new MagnaCut version of this knife. Previously available with S30V. MagnaCut should give you equal, if not better, edge retention, depending on how they've treated it, but also much more toughness than S30V as well. So it's gonna withstand use more. And on both of these knives, actually, the Bel Air and this new version of the Fastball, with acute tips like this, toughness is always an extra appreciated factor. Because, you know, even MagnaCut, you can snap the tip off of a knife if you're getting too rough with it, but the more toughness you have in the steel, the less likely that will be to actually happen. You can push anything to the breaking point there, though. Let's be clear about that. 160 bucks for this one right here. Blade is 3 inches long, so if you do live in a 3-inch limit place, the 3.1 of the Bel Air is sort of like frustratingly just over the line, well, the Fastball will give you an option there. Modified Wharncliffe shape, not as thin as slicey as the Bel Air, but still a good compromise for strength, but still giving you good everyday slicing capability. Blue aluminum for the handles. Pocket clip is reversible, not deep carry, so keep that in mind. But it does offer you a tip down option for right side carry, which is something very few folders, or new folders especially, are even offering. Single liner and a liner lock for the safety features right there, and you've got a flipper tab, ball bearings in the pivot, nice crisp action all around. Cool to see them not sleeping on the Fastball. It was pretty popular when it first came out, but we haven't really seen a lot being done with the line in a couple years anyway. So it's cool to see this joining the fray. Now we've got a couple more Kershaws, a few of their budget imports now to talk about, but I wanted to put that Fastball next to the Bel Air because it made sense. We've got the Runoff and we have the Sequence here. Both of them are injection molded handles with HCR series steel and come in about $45. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'll talk about the knives specifically here. The Runoff here is kind of, you could sort of think of it as a budget Bel Air. Look at, or at least compared to the new clip point version, as you can see right here. Blade length is 3.1, and while you don't have the crossbar lock, you do have that button lock and a reversible clip, so this is still a good option for righties and lefties, because press the button, flick the blade, you can still do that. And you got a flipper tab for standard flipper operation. Ball bearings in the pivot here, of course. Manual, not an assisted opening action, so you don't have to fight that spring when you go to close the knife. As you can see, it can let you flick that closed really nicely and gives you good action. Good traction on the injection mold, nice, fairly deep carry pocket clip, reversible as mentioned. Contrasting color there on the injection molded backspacer. Feels pretty good. It's about I can kind of call it a 3.5 finger grip for me. Smaller hands might have a little bit more of a happy time with this, like smaller medium hands, or even bigger hands where you have like 3 monster sausage fingers. I kind of have sausage fingers, but it still feels pretty good. I would have no problems carrying and using this. Hollow grind on this knife, full length swedge, against kind of that same style as that new Bel Air there, but it feels somehow a little bit less like classic slip joints. I don't know why. Maybe I'm splitting hairs, but it's a feel thing anyway. But the action is really good. The price is affordable, and the Sequence gives you a little bit more in terms of blade length, 3.32. Without raising the price, still $45, and an even more readily left-hand experience if you are a southpaw with the full crossbar lock right there. More handle too. I've got a full 4-finger grip on this knife, and plenty of, or nothing that would restrict even larger hands there when we're talking about the butt section, and no prominent finger guard here. That kind of aids in the amount of usable grip as well, because if I'm back here in the small finger depression, yeah, I've got all 4 fingers on it, but I feel really good choking up just a little bit right around that pivot. Full gorilla grip on that knife right there. Hollow grind, drop point, thin enough for nice sliciness. Stonewashed finish on this one's going to hide scratches pretty nicely. I suppose I could have showed this as the example of the stonewash. Keep the brands together, but hey, what are you going to do? Yeah, feels good. And with the gray here, if you're the kind of sort that likes to modify your knives, you could dye that a different color, give you something a little more personality-wise, or a little more, I was about to say a little more unique, but unique is a binary state. Feels good. You do have the wedge of the tang sticking out right there, but it doesn't feel real pinchy. It feels nicely considered. Some folks don't like that. They would rather have a cleaner, type of presentation, such as what you get on the Bel Air right here. You have a more straight line there, a little bit less of a spot that things could snag. I've never had a particular problem with things snagging there when you're getting in and out of your pocket. And the advantage of doing this type of treatment here is you get a less impeded handle design overall, which allows me to get that full 4-finger grip there, which I definitely appreciate. All right, let's talk cold steel. We've got their FM1 Full Metal Atlas on the site, in both the gray titanium version here, as well as the blacked out version with black titanium and a black blade finish. Both of them sitting at about $250. S35 VN steel, 3.5-inch drop point blade. And based on pictures of these that I've seen, I expected this to be a thicker knife, but this is actually a more kind of sleeker, refined type of cold steel experience here. You can see that's not a crazy thick handle. This is going to be a very easy knife to incorporate into your pocket, not bulky at all, and a great compromise in blade geometry here. I wouldn't even say that. Like, it's not as thin as stuff like the Bel Air, but this is still, you know, a good thin geometry here, or thin enough with a high flat grind. It's going to be nice. Nice feel in the hand on that titanium too. You've got a little bit of texture from the milled pattern going on. You've got a reversible deep carry clip as well, which is nice. No lanyard attachment spot, so if you're the lanyarding sort, you're going to be out of luck here. But you've got the Atlas lock right there. Pull back like so, as you can see. Kind of similar to other dorsal style locks like Demko's Shark Lock or the Snex Super Lock, for example, but it sits lower in the handle, almost like a lockback. In a way, it's kind of a hybrid experience like that, but you do have finger-safe closing action, which is a benefit, of course, of this type of lock, in addition to button locks and crossbar locks, which we've already seen a few of today. And nice, clean tang there, no notch for those of you guys who don't like the tang notch we were just talking about. Nice flicking action with the thumb stud. Technically, it is a single-sided thumb stud, but it's kind of just an offset thumb stud in practice. You can remove the shorter end and flip it around if you wish. So you could kind of like set it up so it is more biased towards your preferred hand. But I haven't actually tried it to confirm, but yeah, the left hand, or the smaller thumb stud, still works just fine without changing things up. Stonewashed finish on this blade. The S35 VN is going to give you a nice bit of edge retention. And it feels cool. It feels, I don't know, it feels like fresh for cold steel. One of the things, since they got acquired by GSM, a lot of the stuff has felt, you know, taking old stuff and doing new stuff with it. And some of their new designs have been good, but I don't know if they've really hit with a lot of the fans. This feels good. I like what they're doing with that. Next up, we have got Maserin. Two new designs from Maserin in collaboration with our good friend Igor Bortolussi of Straight Line EDC. We have got the Pulse folder and the Path fixed blade, pocket fixed blade, and two blade shapes for each. I'll start with this this sheep's foot blade here, or don't say it. Don't say it.
Say what?
Reverse Tonto blade.
Thank you.
Prices on these, about $158 for this denim micarta, or black micarta version. They go up to about $164 for the the shredded carbon fiber version. And here's the drop point blade version of this knife that you can see right here. So both options, kind of hitting a similar talking points as the Bel Air and the Fastball. Decently priced MagnaCut steel, Italian made in this case. Yeah, it's right in that range of price and materials and size, more or less. 3.15 inches on the blade, full flat on this particular, or on both blade shapes actually. The micarta is nice on this. I like the color, and the handle is based on the Maserin Power, but it's got a few kind of ergonomic improvements over that knife, I think. And you have a similar looking lock to the Atlas lock on that cold steel. This is called the W lock here, but I will caution that this doesn't really, I've never been really able to get this to do one-hand closing really nicely. It's more of a two-hand closer. You can kind of pull it back with your thumb and let the blade drop a little bit, but the heel of that edge is touching my finger when I do that. So I wouldn't actually recommend you do that. But if you really wanted to close it one-handed, I suppose you could, you know, do something like that. Not quite recommended. One-hand opening is much easier, however. Nice flick on that blade. MagnaCut, as mentioned, really good performance. Stonewashed finish on both of these blade shapes actually as well. Handle's nice. All four fingers fit for me. You've got a nice shape if you have even larger hands with the rounded end here at the back. Reversible deep carry clip. I always love seeing that too. Should make a really nice EDC for some folks. Just a little bit of finger guard there, so you get some protection without it being so aggressive that you can't choke up if you really want a thicker grip on the knife. But you got the more working kind of blue collar style of that, and the fancier version with the carbon fiber there. Either one's going to be a nice option. As for the path, again, 2 blade shapes, reverse tonto and your drop point. We've got crowned spines on these knives, which you don't have on the folders, and that crowning, I'm gonna hold the denim one because I really like that. The crowning goes all the way around, so nice and comfy feeling in the hand. Prices on these, they look like $153 across the board. There is, right now we have a version of that same red shredded carbon fiber or red marbled, whatever you want to call it, on the other blade shape, coming in at $187. But you've also got the 2 woods. You've got walnut and olive wood options. This is the walnut on that one right there. Path feels like a pretty good name because it, in addition to being a good EDC type of knife, because it does have a pocket sheath, we'll get to that. This also has a fairly ergonomic and slightly thicker handle for some pocket fixed blades perhaps, giving you a real solid feeling grip on the knife. Even though my hands are, as you can see, really stretching the bounds of this particular available handle length, it feels quite nice. This is another one where I think smaller and medium hands especially will be very well suited to this knife, but even with my hand size, it still does work. But if you wanted to take this trail running, I don't run, hiking or camping or stuff like that, this would be a good option because of that little extra handle thickness right there. This would make a pretty good carving knife, I would suggest, as well as any other kind of around camp type of uses. We've got a hidden lanyard spot there at the back, and here is the sheath. It is black leather, and it is magnetic. Actually, I'm not going to stretch that out just yet. I'll leave that to whoever purchases this particular knife. As you can see from the way those kind of reached out towards each other, we've got a little bit of magnetization from the blade. Are you serious? There you go. Stay right there. I need this to brace that one. But it works just like the sheaths on like my Pocket Tango, for example, and other MKM products. You've got a magnetic flap, so you flip this or slip this into your pocket, and that magnet will keep it in place and keep the handle of the knife at a very handy location. Now, kind of the exact opposite of a kind of camping appropriate fixed blade, we have an butterfly knife.
That attitude.
Well, I mean, I suppose you could. There'd be worse ballad songs to take camping than this for sure. This is the REVO Knives Nexus. This is made by the same folks as BRS, Blade Runner Systems. You know what we're gonna do, you little magnetic son of a gun? We're just gonna set you right there.
Time out.
Be good, be nice. 2 versions of this that are actually new and on sale right now. I forget what the other color is. I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry. But we have the this green and satin option right here, which is done out of aluminum, and a 154 cm blade, 4.5 inches long, coming in at about $150 on a special price at the moment. The action on these, we're running on ceramic bearings, and it is very smooth. And I will use my stock single bally flip move that I have, even after all these years. That's all I've been able to really master, but it feels very, very nice. It's not too fast. I know some folks, when they hear ball bearings, they might worry about the action being a little too quick, but this feels nicely dialed. It's got just enough, I don't know, resistance built into however they have put it together, so that it is free floating without being like skate away on you, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. There you go. Check them out. Anyone who knows Bally's knows BRS is a name to be trusted. This is, as I said, the same team and factory, just under the REVO brand name. Check it out. Now we've got several concepts, sorry, I did it again. Several Kansept crossbar locks to take a look at. These first 2 are very similar size. They're also, actually neither of these have reversible pocket clips. So if, sorry, lefties on both of these cases. Actually, the next one from them we're gonna look at as well. But same bullet points between all of them, so keep this in mind. 3.11 inch blade on the Apollo right here. That's 35 VN steel. Prices can go up to about just under 300 for some of the fancier versions than this. And that's saying something, because this is not an unfancy version right here. Lowest one is about 170 for a black and copper carbon fiber version. 3.1 inches on the blade, as mentioned. It's a nice looking drop point. Titanium for the handle. This is is this actual fat carbon, or is it something else? It is. It's jungle wear fat carbon. I thought it might be. But a decent size for EDC. It's 3.5 fingers for me. Despite the blade size, the handle is kept a little bit on the smaller size, so that should be a little more compact in the pocket. But you do, or at least for me anyway, you do sacrifice a little bit of like usable length. Yeah, I can choke up a little bit if I need to. Actually, I was gonna say it's not that great, but it's actually not that bad. I do that sometimes. I'll use my last 3 fingers to really grip the knife, and that, most of your grip strength comes from there anyway. And sometimes your index and pinky, or index finger and thumb can kind of float a little bit. I don't really need to grip with those fingers so much to feel secure sometimes, and this is the case right here. So I could push through some heavier cuts with this, despite the prominent finger guard here. It's working out pretty nicely. Good blade geometry. It's thin enough. The grind is nice and flat, high enough as well, and a stone-washed finish there for actual use. Use your knives, right? Definitely. Action. Ball bearings. Nice, as you can see. Finger safe closing, always like that. This knife here is the Dako, we'll call it that. Same rough size and prices, really. 3.19 inches, low price is $180 or $179.90. This is one of those versions right there. And one of the versions gets a little fancier at about $237. We've got a more, I was about to say generic, but that's not the right word, but a more free handle shape, shall we say. All 4 fingers for me fit on there without any kind of floating index finger or altered grip. It just gives you that full handle length with about the same amount of blade, actually. Almost exactly. Maybe slightly less sharpened edge, but only because you've got a hint more belly right here. But actual length, like front to back, sharpened edge, sharpened length is about the same. We've got titanium handles with an integral bolster, copper foil carbon fiber on this one, milled pocket clip here. Actually, what was it? Yeah, milled pocket clip on the Apollo as well. Actually mounted from the inside on the Apollo, outside on the Dako. The cool thing about the drop point blade on this version right here is, depending on how you tilt it, it almost starts to look like a modified Wharncliffe. In a way, you could kind of think of this as splitting the difference between those two, allowing you to use that tip really nicely for draw cuts and scoring for sure. Again, really nice geometry, maybe a little bit slicier than the Apollo, same because it's got the same thickness and a higher flat grind, same stone-washed finish on this one. This next one is a little larger. This is the Eaglestrike, and Kansept is also releasing this knife under their Tenable brand at the same time, which kind of annoys me, because why don't you just call it a different, it's the same brand. But anyway, Tenable is their more budget-friendly brand, and unlike some other things like Wii Civivi or ZT and Kershaw for that matter, they will release the same designs under both brands. And they are releasing them at the same time at this point too. So you can get 2 different price points. We'll start with the Tenable, might as well. Low price on these is about $70. And for the Kansept, we're at $100, $170 for the titanium version right here. There's also a Damascus version of the big Eaglestrike at another $10. You've got really cool anodized lightning strike titanium on that as well. But anyway, I said we'll start with the Tenable. Let's finish with the Kansept, or continue starting with the Kansept. Anyway, things make sense in my head sometimes. Larger blade, 3 3/4 inch, S35, stone-washed finish, some cool, I guess that's the Eaglestrike right there, although Eagles have like 3 talons, maybe 4, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm splitting hairs. It doesn't matter. You've got talon scratches right there. That's what we're going to call them. Cool blade shape, though. I like the geometry. The blade is a little bit thinner in this case than the previous 2 Kansepts that we've looked at, or maybe it might not be, but the chamfered edge The small thumb ramp here can be a little deceiving to the eye sometimes. Combined, of course, with that full-length swedge, making that appear thinner at the top. But that swedge removes some drag from the spine when you're moving through cuts. The geometry overall, I think, should be quite nice. Titanium handles, milled clip mounted on the inside. Crossbar lock. Wow, that was a good bounce. There we go. It works. Works nicely. A nice flick on the thumb stud as well when you're operating it that way. Big full-length handles, should have no problems there. Even if I'm wearing bigger gloves, my slightly larger than average hands have plenty of purchase right here. And the balance is a little handle heavy on the titanium version, sitting just barely behind the finger groove right there. Not prohibitively so, but it is noticeable. The balance, however, on the Tenable versions is a little bit better, in my opinion anyway. I like balance points that sit right there on where your index finger is, because you get just this great feeling of nimbleness. Weight on that Tenable, or on that Kansept version, is 5.27 ounces. Weight on this Eaglestrike is 3.99 ounces with the blue micarta. Several different flavors are available. There's some aluminum versions too, actually. What's the weight on the aluminum? There's a bright green and a silver anodized, 3.99, so roughly the same. Oh, I should mention James Lowe is the designer of this knife. But yeah, you can get this for $100 less if you don't care about the uprated materials. Not that the materials here are down rent. Micarta is quite nice, and Nitro V is a great steel that is available on more affordable knives. You've got great edge retention for the price, and really great toughness for the price too. Always good on a working knife. Last but not least from Kansept, we have the Tipper, a flipper. Actually, it's not a flipper, folder. Really cool look going on. This is a Scott Stills design, really broad, it's kind of a cross between a butcher knife and a regular tanto, so we'll call it a bullnose tanto in this case. So you can get a hint of like clip point right there. 3.4, just under 3.4 inches, 178, pretty much all around, within $1 or $2 of that, depending on which version you get. S35 or Damascus versions, not Damasteel, it's more of like a VG10-ish style Damascus. Titanium handles, really gently radiused right here, not just on the corners, you've got that throughout the handle, and no kind of real sharp edges anywhere. It feels very comfy in the hand, very accommodating. We've got a nice big milled pocket clip here, and of course the frame lock for retention or for safety. Whew, that's a really nice flick actually with that knife going on. Another knife that you can get a full grip on, and you got a really cool blade. Slightly on the thicker side, high enough flat grind there, especially out near the tip where it's not gonna make too much of a difference. You're still gonna be able to slice well enough for EDC, but feel like you've got a little more backbone to the knife. They're really cool, very distinctive looking, and still pretty useful. The tip's still useful enough, I would say, and you've basically got a ton of belly here for slicing with like one serration sticking down. You can kind of think of it like that. Makes the cut a little more aggressive, which can be very nice. The Brawler from Andre de Villiers from ADV is in the house. We've got several versions, like 19 different SKUs on the site right now. And like many ADVs, you can get it in some very over-the-top finishes, but I chose one of the more subtle versions today. This one is priced at about $600 or $599 to be exact. There's some versions coming in about $555. I think that's the low price amongst the options so far. Yes, indeed, that is correct. Polished titanium diamond pattern for the handles. Blade is M390, almost 4 inches long. Big upswept recurve blade. It's both upswept and recurve, so you've got like dueling arcs going on right here. Really cool horizontal grained finish on this one. Smooth on the pocket, or on the smooth on the pocket clip, but smooth on the lock bar here, giving you some contrasting visual interest from the diamond texture on the handle. And it is a real like chunky diamond texture. It's not sharp, however. It feels gentle while still giving you more traction. It's quite nice. And of course, you can't see it from the top here, but you still have the Zamboni wheel pinch point there on the pocket clip. I always love how those look and feel in use. Action, flipper with ball bearings and a frame lock. So you would expect it to be nice and crisp, and indeed it is. Let's try the thumb studs. Very, very nice. Can I open it any other way? Well, we've got a fuller here. Let me see if I can reverse flick it. I haven't tried yet. Okay, yeah, you can do it. There you go. I just had to get used to it. Very nice. If you want something more over the top, check out all the colors at the links below. And last but certainly not least, we have this roll right here, which is a new set of kitchen knives from Demko, which is interesting. It doesn't really feel like anything else in the Demko lineup. In honesty, it just kind of feels like some really nice Japanese style cutlery, because that's kind of what it is. You can get them in the full set, or each of these knives come individually. The roll here, pardon me as I move around here, the roll itself is waxed canvas. It's made by Hudson Durable Goods. Do not eat. These are not seasoning packets. Would not recommend flavoring anything with those. The full set comes in at $700 with 5 knives and the roll. But the individual knives are all less than $200 a piece. Let's go with this one right here, first and foremost. This is the Gyoto coming in at $190. You've got Japanese red oak for the handles, VG10 core laminated blades with a hammered texture at the spine, giving you that kind of food release capabilities. And it's, like I said, it just feels like really good traditional or modern traditional Japanese style kitchen cutlery. You've got the octagonal handle, very thin blades with very narrow edges. These are precision cutters. Like, don't go chopping chicken through chicken bone joints with anything like this. You will risk damage to the edge, being this thin and so narrowly sharpened. Keep that in mind. They feel really good. The handles themselves, like I said, red oak, they have almost like a charred finish going on to them, so that's something a little bit different. Other knives in the series, there is an bread knife, as you can see right here. You've got a Nakiri, as you can see right there. What else we got? What else we got, Thomas?
I don't know, they're way over there.
This one they're just calling the Petty. It's kind of a smaller Gyoto style knife, we can say, so we will. And a small utility knife right here. Or actually, no, this is the Petty. This one right here is a 6 3/4 inch Santoku. And then you've got a Petty utility style knife right there. Check them out at the links below. You'll tell me how you want that laid out here for B-roll here in just a minute. It's a bit of a mess, I apologize.
So are we.
Yeah, that's true.
So is the whole channel.
So is the whole channel this week. Thanks for sticking with us through that ordeal. We've got about almost 480,000 subscribers to this channel right now. So it would stink really bad to have to start over with that. So if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing.
Button's right there.
It's right there. If you have any feedback for us, leave it in the comments below. But if you just want to get your hands on the knives or see more detailed specs on any of them, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. While you're there, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program or our Sezzle payment options if you want to make some of these more expensive knives a little bit more manageable at checkout. I'm David C. Henderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we're signing off for now. See you next time.
For sure, yeah.
Well, provided we're still here, yeah.